Okay, so in this video, we're going to be looking at how to add images to our web page. How to add images to our web page. So let's go over to our subline, alright? So we're creating a new document. Let's save our document first. Alright. So Ctrl S. Alright, so let's save it. Images.html. Now let's come up with our basic structure. Good. So let's title this images. So to add images to your web page, you need the img tag. That's the image tag. The img tag is what you use in adding images to your web page. So let's go ahead and add the img tag instead of our body tag. The img tag. Alright. So it's a self-closing tag. A self-closing tag. Good. So this is not just this is not all of what we need for this image to be functional or for this image to show on our web page. We need something. We need an attribute. Remember when I said something about attribute? The attribute modifies an HTML element or it adds functionality to an HTML element. Good. So we need an attribute for this particular tag, for this particular img tag. And the attribute that is required for this is the src attribute. That's the source attribute. Alright. Remember, it comes inside of the opening tag. So in this case, it won't be hard because image is a self-closing tag, right? So it's definitely not going to be hard in this. But if it was a tag that has both an opening and a close tag, remember your attribute will always come inside the opening tag. So good. So now the src tag, src equals to quotation mark, exactly. So now the first thing we're going to be looking at is how to add an image from a web page here. Let's say we're getting an image that is online. How to add an image that is online. Alright, so let's go to our browser and look for something. Alright, so let's just search for something. Let's say most beautiful places in the world, most beautiful cities in the world. Alright, so now we want to get an image online. So I'm going to show you how to get an image online. So good, let's use this particular website. Okay. So we're going to a particular website. So every image or images online have an address in it. They always have address attached to it. Alright. So let's get an image. So how do we get this image address? So once you get to the image, right, click over it. Let's get, do I like this image? Let's get to bread. Okay, let's take this. So like I said, if you want to get the image address, all you need to do is right click over the image. So I'm right clicking, so you can see there is an open image in a new tab, save image as, copy image. What I'm looking for now is copy image address. Alright, so I'm going to click on copy image address. So once I've done that, I've copied the link. So I'm going to take the link back to my text editor. So in between my quotation mark, which is supposed to be the value for my attributes, that's where I'll paste that link I copied. Exactly. So by doing this, let's save and open this on our browser. Good. So we're opening the browser. Let's see what we have. Exactly. So you can see there's an image already added to my web page. You can see that, right? I've added an image to my web page. So you can see there's an image. I've added exactly that image that's been added to my web page. You see it, right? So that's how you do that. That's how you add an image. Right? You add an image to your web page. Alright. So before we look at how to get images on your laptop, I want to explain one of the attributes. Remember in the last video I talked about width as an attribute. So if you can see on my screen that the picture is too big for my screen, right? So now I want to reduce the size of the picture. So I'm going to use the width attribute. So let's add the width attribute to our image. So let's add the width attribute. So let's make it like let's say 300px. So you just type 300. You could go ahead and put px. It's optional. So let's save this. All right. Alright, exactly. So because I've given it 200px, you can see how small the image is now. The size has been reduced. Alright, so it's the same way too. It works also with height. So if I want to give it a height, remember all these are attributes are adding to the image tag, and it's giving the extra functionalities. So let's add the height. Let's say we want to increase our height to 500. It's in px, right? So good. Let's see this. Px means pixels. Exactly. So you could see the height of the image has changed, right? But let's go ahead and just leave it at. Let's take away the height. I don't need the height now. So let's make this like 700. That's good. Exactly. So that's width. So the next thing we're looking at is how do I add an image inside of my system to my web page? How do I get an image inside of my system to my web page? So first thing we're going to be looking at is what if, let's look at, so if the image is on the same folder with your HTML file, how do we get it? So go ahead and copy an image from your laptop and move it to the same folder where your HTML file is. So let's do that. So I'm inside of my image folder. So I want to get any image of my choice. Okay, let's get this image. So I'm going to copy this image. So now go ahead and just copy an image and move to the same folder where your image file is. So I've copied this image. Let's go to the folder where my HTML file is. Right. Exactly. So now this is the folder where my HTML file is now. So as you can see, this is images here. So this is the file we're working on. So I'm going to paste an image inside of this place. Paste. Good. So this is the image I added, JS. So to copy an image from your laptop, right? So you need to know something. You need to get the extension of that image, right? So most different extensions, you could see those that have the JPG, JPEG, you could see some that are GIF, alright? Some images are PNG, so different images have different extensions. So for us to copy this image, the most important thing, one of the things we need is the extension attached to that image. So the image I want to copy is this one that is titled JS, and the extension of this image, as you can see, once you put your mouse over it, it brings out item type JPG file. Good. So for me to copy this image, because it's in the same folder with my HTML file, let's go to my HTML. Because it's in the same folder with my HTML file, so I'm going to create another tag. So img, right? So because it's the same folder with my HTML file, what I just need to do is the name of the image, JS dot, what's the extension? JPG. I don't know what your image extension might be, so it's going to be the name of your image dot the extension. So the extension for this image is JPG. All right, so let's save it and go to our browser and reload our page. Right. Okay. Exactly. So you could see the image, right? Exactly, the image has been added. That is it. This is the image. So let's go ahead and reduce the size. Let's use the width attribute to reduce the size. So let's give it a width of let's give it 700 also. So it's 700 px. Exactly. So you can see I've been able to reduce the size of the image. So now I've showed you how to add an image from your laptop into your HTML file or your web page. Good. So something else. What if that image is in another folder? What if it's not in the same folder as your HTML file? How do we do that? Let's go back to our HTML where we have our HTML file saved in. Good. So this is where my HTML file is saved in. So this is the picture we just added now, this JS, right? So now what if you have another folder? Like I have another folder titled images. Like let's see. Okay, good. I have an image inside of it. Good. So now what if I want to get that image? What do I do, or how do I get it? So now let's go into the image and find out what extension the image has. Okay, this image is also a JPG file. That's good. So remember, what we need for this is the name of the image dot the extension. But because it's in another folder, and it is that folder that is in the same folder with your HTML file, so for us, before we can get that, we need to call that folder first. So good. So to get that particular image, let's go ahead and add another image tag, the img tag. So now, what do we need now? So we need to get the folder that has that image file in it. So what we need to do is images /. So remember, the name of that folder is images. So now by typing images /, I've gotten access into that image folder. Alright. By typing images /, I've gotten access into that image folder. So what I need to do next now? I need to call the image I'm looking for. So it's saved as Costa Rica.jpg. Remember, the extension is very important. If yours is PNG, you input .png. If it's JPEG, JPEG. If it's GIF, GIF. Good. So let's save this. Exactly. So you could see another image has been added. Alright, another image has been added. So the final thing I'm looking at is, what if your HTML file and your images or the image folder are not on the same, or are not in the same folder? What do we do? What if your HTML file is in a different folder entirely and you have an image in another different folder entirely? What do we do? Okay, that's what I'm looking at now. So I'm going to close this particular HTML page and I'm going to reopen it. So I'm closing it. Alright, so let's I'm closing my browser also. Alright, good. So now let's go to where we have our HTML file. Good. So now I'm going to move. Okay, good. So I'm going to create another folder now. Let's say we are creating another folder. Let's rename it and call it let's call it img folder. Exactly. Good. Now I'm going to move my images file now into that folder. So let's cut it. Okay, now we have moved our HTML file into another folder called the img folder now. So you could see this is my HTML file. So let's just go ahead and open it on our browser. Exactly. So because we have moved into another folder, the email directories has changed. So you could see currently now you could see two image logos or image icons close to the main image showing currently. Now this means you have given us a wrong directory for an image. That means the current directory we have now, it's not correct. You get my point? So that's what this currently means. So what that means, so what we need to do now is, how do we get an image now, like inside another folder, while our HTML file is in another folder entirely? Alright, so let's go ahead and open let's close this subline first. Let's open our subline afresh again. So go and open your text editor again. Alright, good. So now I need the img folder. So you can see my img folder here. Good. So exactly. So it's showing this way because this directory is wrong. What it is expecting from this second one is that this image should be in the same folder with your HTML file. That's what this first line, this second image line means. That's what it means. That means this image should be in the same folder. And what this third image tag means also is that the image or whatever directory we have here means that the image folder is inside the same folder with our HTML file. So that's why we are getting it wrong. You get my point? So how do we now get back our image? So how do we now get an image that's in a different folder entirely, and your HTML file is in a different folder entirely? So good. So let's go ahead and add another image tag, img. Alright. So good. Let's add our source attribute. So good. So logically, let's go to that folder. Good. So for us to get access to images, it means we need to come out of the folder where our HTML file is. Logically, that's what it means. So you need to come out of that folder and go into the images folder to pick up that image. Alright. So how do we take a step back in HTML? How do we take a step back? Because that's what we need to do now currently now. Our file needs to come out of this folder it is, then search for the other, then pick up the image folder and get that file. So to go back in HTML, you need ... So by doing that, we have taken a step back. ... You're taking a step back. You get my point? So now, By doing this now, we are no longer inside of the image folder. We have stepped out of the image folder. Now we are on this place. So what we need to do now is just to target the folder we want to, which is the img folder, images folder, right? / so let's with Costa Rica.jpg. All right, so let's save this. Let's reload our browser again. Exactly. So you could see I've added the image back. So to step back, all you need is .. Alright, so the .. again is taking you further back. So once you just put .. it means you're stepping back. That's how you leave, that's how your HTML file leaves the folder it is in to come out and look for another folder to pick up a file. You get my point? So it's that simple. So what if the image folder is not in another file? Alright, let's say it was not in another folder. So what do we do? Let's say so currently now, like we have now, so now I want to get that JS folder on ground now, right? I want to get it. So what I need to do is just the same thing we did here. Alright, so let's self-close. So it's going to be now it's going to be .. That means we have stepped back. So now the other image folder is just there. So it's going to be js.jpg. Let's save this. Exactly. So you can see the image is back. The image has been added back. All right. So good. So one more thing I want to show you in HTML images is another attribute called the ALT, the alternate attribute, the ALT attribute. So the work of this ALT attribute is it gives or it describes the image currently on the ground when the image is not available. So let's say, like what has happened now, we have changed our directory. How will people know what kind of image was on ground? All right. So let's use those two where the directory is no longer correct. So let's add the ALT tag. So let's say let's call this what do we call that image? Let's reduce the size of this particular image first. So let's give it a width 700 px. Like I said, if you put 700 or you add px, they are both the same thing. Good. So let's say and let's call this highway. Let's call this particular image highway, right? Good. So I'm going to put highway now inside of my alt. That means where the value for my alt attribute is. So let's call this highway picture and save. Reload our page. Good. So you could see the text written there, highway picture. That means the alt attribute is for describing an image when the image is not showing, or maybe when it's taking time to load. You get my point? So the alt attribute is what you use to describe an image when it is not showing. So by someone looking at it, the person is expecting an highway picture. Alright, so that's what you use the alt attribute for. So that's all on IMG or images tag. So I hope you understand it, and we'll see in the further video.